South America. Facts and figures. The major mountain is Andes. The major desert is Atacama. The largest lake, Maracaibo. The highest peak, Mount Aconcagua, which is 6,900 meters above sea level. The longest river is Amazon, which is 6,200 kilometers. The chief minerals and fuels are iron ore, copper, tin, silver, emerald, and petroleum. The chief crops are maize, wheat, rice, cassava, potato, coffee, cocoa, sugarcane, and bananas. And the chief cities are Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, Bogota, Lima, Rio de Janeiro, Santiago, Caracas, and Quito. History. The Europeans came here in 1498. This was when Christopher Columbus reached the river Orinoco in Venezuela. Native American Indians were subdued and the land was taken over by Spain and Portugal. There was a colonial rule for about 300 years. Latin America consists of South America, Central America, Mexico, and the Caribbean islands. As the languages spoken by the early Europeans, like Spanish, French, and Portuguese and Italian, were from Latin. South America is connected to North America through the Isthmus of Panama. The Panama Canal on this isthmus links the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. If South America is a triangle, the Cape Horn is at its apex. The Andes. On the western side of South America, you have the Andes stretching all the way from the Caribbean Sea from the north to the southern tip. The highest peak is Mount Aconcagua. There are other peaks like Chimborazo and Cotopaxi. Cotopaxi is a volcanic peak. The Andes has three main parallel ranges, and between these there are high plateaus. The Altiplano is the largest plateau, and it covers Bolivia and Peru, and it's at a level of 3,650 meters above sea level. This has Lake Titicaca, one of the highest lakes in the world. The Eastern Highlands. This consists of Guyana Highlands, Brazilian Highlands, and Patagonia. Angel Falls. This is in Guyana Highlands, in Venezuela. It's on the branch of the river Caroni, which is a tributary of Orinoco. It's the highest waterfall in the world, and it's 797 meters above sea level. It's almost a kilometer, right? Brazilian Highlands. This is higher and larger than the Guyana Highlands. It consists of old hard rocks like the Deccan Plateau. There are two large rivers flowing in it, the São Francisco and the Parana River. The Patagonia. This is in southern Argentina. Most of it is temperate desert. It slopes gently toward the Atlantic Ocean. The Central Plains. This consists of large river basins between the Andes on the left and the highlands. The Amazon Basin. This is the largest basin. It contains the river Amazon, which rises in the Andes in the west and flows toward the Atlantic Ocean over 6,400 kilometers, and therefore it's the largest river in the world in terms of capacity of water. The climate here is tropical, so you have dense evergreen forests called the selvas. There are thousands of species of trees like silk cotton, wild rubber, palms, and hardwoods. There are thick woody vines that climb on tall trees, and these are called lianas. The Orinoco Basin. The Orinoco River originates in Andes and it flows into the Atlantic Ocean. The Orinoco Basin is separated from the Amazon Basin by the Guyana Highlands. It has tropical grasslands, and these are called ilanos, which is quite similar to the grasslands between Amazon basin and Brazilian highlands called campos. The Paraguay-Uruguay basin. This is formed by rivers Paraguay, Uruguay, and Parana. These rivers empty into an expanse of water called the Rio de la Plata. It's like a plate, and it takes these three rivers into it. Western part of Parana, Uruguay basin is called the Gran Chaco. Southeast of the Gran Chaco, you have grasslands called the Pampas. The coastal plains. Along the Pacific Ocean, there are very narrow coastal plains because the Andes are there. Along the Pacific coast of South Peru and northern Chile is the Atacama Desert. The northeast part of the coastal plains are wider, near the Guyana Highlands and the Brazilian Highlands. Agriculture. Fertile soil here is in less than 10% of the entire area. And they grow maize, wheat, rice. These are the major three crops. The maximum wheat production is in the Pampas area, and this is therefore called the granary of South America. Maize is a native crop of South America, and it is a chief food here. Rice is grown in coastal Peru, Brazil, and Colombia. Other food crops are potato and manioc or cassava. Cash crops are coffee, cocoa, sugarcane, and banana. Coffee is grown in Brazil, Colombia, and Peru. Brazil is also called the coffee pot of the world. Cocoa is grown in Brazil, Ecuador, and Peru. Chocolate is made from the cocoa beans. Animal rearing. This happens in extensive grasslands like in Argentina, Brazil, and in Uruguay. Cattle are reared on large farms called estancias, and the cowboys who work there are called the gauchos. Minerals and industries. There are large reserves of iron ore here. Brazil is one of the largest producers of iron ore in the world. Chile is the largest producer of copper in the world. Peru also produces a good amount of copper. So these are the copper producing countries, Chile and Peru. Peru, Bolivia, and Brazil are the leading tin producers in the world. Another mineral found is manganese, another is bauxite, which is aluminium. Mica, silver, gold, diamond, and emerald are also found here. There are large reserves of petroleum in Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago. Most important industries are sugar, dairy, meat, leather, and coffee. Fishing industry is developed along the western coast, and Peru and Chile are among the major fishing nations of the world. Brazil is the most industrially developed among all the countries in South America. And it's known for iron, steel, oil refining industry, automobiles, cotton, food processing, and chemicals. Other important features of South America is we get cedar, rosewood, mahogany, and ebony trees here, and they provide timber. There are the balsa trees, which are the lightest wood-producing trees. Carnauba palm yields wax for candles, and the bark of cinchona tree gives us quinine, which is used for the treatment of malaria. Serra dos Carajos region has the richest iron ore reserve in the world.